Cavs owner Dan Gilbert has given a massive update into Donovan Mitchell's future, and obviously that always pertains to the New York Knicks, as the Knicks have a constant interest in Mitchell. So let's jump right into this, guys. Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to break this thing down for you. So if you look here, Dan Gilbert recently said that he believes that Donovan Mitchell will sign a long-term contract extension to chase a championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And his quote is, "We've been talking to him, sure, for the last couple of years about extending his contract. We think he will extend. I think if you listen to him talk, he loves the city. He loves the situation in Cleveland because our players are very young, and we're just kind of putting the core together that he's clearly the biggest part of." It also mentions that Mitchell signed a 5-year, $163 million contract extension with the Utah Jazz in 2020 before requesting that trade. And based on the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, Mitchell is able to sign a 4-year extension worth roughly up to $200 million this summer. Now, that is more money than any other team can offer him. That is kind of what the CBA did, which is exactly just kind of preventing that big market bias. And basically, you get more money to re-sign with a team than you would get for leaving in free agency. It's just kind of the way the NBA said, hey, look, we have to help small markets a little bit. We have to kind of make this an even playing field. And that's how they did it. Now, there's also a way out of this. You sign that extension, then you request the trade. That you could do that, but it doesn't always happen that you're going to sign that extension and instantly request a trade. For instance, Donovan Mitchell. He signed that extension in 2020. He requests a trade summer of 2022, so it took him 2 years. But also, we're not sure if Donovan is going to accept a contract extension. Now, yeah, he could sign one this offseason, have at least 5 more years left in Cleveland, be making great money, and potentially do really well with the Cavs, as they are the 4 seed right now, because the New York Knicks just overtook him for the 3rd seed. Let's go! But if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, there are questions. As Dan Gilbert said, Donovan Mitchell is the biggest part of that team. That is not how that trade was supposed to go. When Donovan Mitchell was traded to the Cavs, I'm pretty sure that their plan was, all right, well, as Evan Mobley develops into an NBA superstar, we're going to have Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jared Allen to pair with him. That's going to be a pretty sick team. Now, unfortunately, Mobley's offensive game has not really come so far since he was a rookie. He can't really shoot. I think, honestly, one of the reasons why the Cavs went on that massive run is because Evan Mobley went down with that injury. They replaced him with Dean Wade, who, outside of being one of the most efficient on-ball defenders in the NBA, is also one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. So it kind of works because they got a 3-and-D power forward. Jared Allen played some of the best basketball of his career without Evan Mobley clogging up the paint. Donovan Mitchell played excellent basketball. The team was just flowing, and now Mobley's back, and look what's happening. They're the 4 seed now. They're no longer that 2 seed. They're now the 4th seed. So clearly this team is not built correctly, and I think that if they lose in the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell will, in fact, request a trade. Dan Gilbert's not going to go out there and say, yeah, well, talking about Donovan Mitchell, I think he's going to request a trade from our team. Like, I think we're just going to lose him completely. I don't think he likes Cleveland. I don't think he likes Ohio. I think he just wants to go play for the Knicks. He's not going to say that. That's just not going to happen. So if you listen to him talk and say, yeah, he loves Cleveland, he loves everything here, he's the face of the franchise, Dan Gilbert is kind of just protecting himself. He's not going to go out there and say anything that would upset Donovan. And Donovan, if he heard Dan Gilbert said something against that, he'd be like, dude, what? All right, yeah, now I do want to leave. We don't really know how Donovan Mitchell feels. And I think we're not going to know how Donovan Mitchell feels because I don't think Donovan Mitchell is going to fully know how he feels until after this playoffs. This is something I've talked about consistently when it comes to the New York Knicks. I don't think the Knicks know what they want to trade for this summer. They know they want to make a massive trade. It's why they got Bojan Bogdanovic so they could use that contract to make a massive trade. But I don't think they know who they want it to be for yet because the Knicks need to see what happens in the playoffs. They need to see what teams do well. They need to see how their own team does. They know what they're going to get out of Julius Randle. He's been here for 5 years. He's one of the better Knicks all time. OG Anunoby, same thing. He's only been here for a little bit of time, but you know what you're getting out of OG on this team. Outside of that, we're going to have to see how this Knicks team performs so the Knicks can kind of see how their new-look squad kind of fends in the playoffs and see how they do. And you kind of just need to see, like, okay, we need this. And you're not really going to know that until you get in the playoffs, until you experience the playoffs, until you lose because of a glaring hole in your team. Or maybe there isn't one, and the Knicks just lose because maybe the Celtics were better and Randall was injured or something. We don't know how the playoffs are going to turn out. And that goes to the Cavs too, because Donovan Mitchell doesn't know how the playoffs are going to turn out for the Cavs. If the Cavs lose in the first round again and Donovan Mitchell is looking at his team and being like, all right, well, I most only have one more year left, or I could tell them, hey, I'm thinking of leaving because you guys, just this team here, what we got going, it's not working out. And I don't want to spend a bunch of time on a team that keeps losing early in the playoffs again. That's why I left the Utah Jazz. If he sees the Knicks go far in the playoffs, even just back to the second round again, he's going to think, damn, if I were there, we'd go farther than that second round. We could go to the NBA Finals. Donovan is going to think like that, and not just with the Knicks, but with other teams too. He's going to look at teams and be like, oh man, if I was there, things would be different. I could win an NBA championship there. Whether that's the Knicks, whether it's the Miami Heat, whether it's some other team that we're not thinking of. It's not the Brooklyn Nets, even though they're interested, because the Nets aren't good. But the Knicks need to figure out what they want, and maybe that is Donovan Mitchell. Maybe they're just going to see they need more shot creation, and Donovan's the guy. This is stuff that the Knicks are going to have to figure out. And if you look here, Leon Rose would obviously be interested in Donovan Mitchell if Cleveland's extension offer was declined by him and they became open to trading him. Now, the price would be lower because Donovan only has 1 year left on his deal, and the Knicks' willingness to get involved for Mitchell would depend on how their season ends and who else is available, as I was just saying. Now, also, if you look here, and I'm not going to read this whole thing out or I'll sound like that kid in school who just could not read and read one word every 5,000 minutes, and we all wanted to go absolutely insane. But long story short, Donovan Mitchell has kind of had a mixed era in Cleveland because they went back to the playoffs, the vibes are great, and the Knicks just beat them with the metal bats. Obviously, now they're the 4th seed. Things are falling, even though they're healthy. So that's kind of worrisome if you're the Cavs, that maybe your healthiest roster isn't your best. That's really worrisome, especially if you're thinking, I want to win a championship. They're not going to trade these guys. They can't even get as good a value as they could have in the past for them. What are we going to do? Like, that's something that Donovan is going to think. And if you just kind of look at that first paragraph, the Knicks have just always been interested in Donovan Mitchell since they got outbid by the Cavs, and even before that, the Knicks were the favorites. Donovan Mitchell even said that he genuinely thought, he said this on JJ Redick's podcast, he said one day, 2 days before the trade happened, he went to bed thinking, damn, I'm on the New York Knicks now. And now he's not. No, he never made it there. He ended up on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who the New York Knicks stomped out in the playoffs, despite most people thinking the Cavs would win. The Knicks showed levels to this, and they showed the Cavs are a level below them, and the Cavs still seem to be a level below the Knicks. And maybe it would kind of be like if you can't beat him, join him thing, and people would get upset at Donovan, but it's not his fault the Cavs are built horribly. And if he wants to leave, the Knicks are probably going to be the favorites for him. Now, if you look right here, Donovan Mitchell is a star NBA player. He's putting up 27.5 points with 5 rebounds and 6 assists. This is one of the best seasons of his career. He's a 5-time All-Star, been the All-NBA last year, shooting 47% from the field, 37% from 3. The man is great. The one problem in his game lies with the defense. He's got long arms. He's a great athlete. He really doesn't have any excuse to be a poor defender. I think the reason that he's a poor defender is that no coach has ever really challenged him defensively. If you put Tibbs with him, then maybe Donovan Mitchell's defense can get unlocked. Because in Louisville, he was a good defender. So he clearly has that ability. I think with the Knicks, where he'd have less offensive pressure to do everything and just can kind of play more of a natural team basketball game, yeah, I think we could see Donovan Mitchell be one of the best defenders in the NBA, or one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA. He definitely has the potential. He's an elite athlete. He's very quick. He's got high basketball IQ, and he's got like a 6'10 wingspan, dude. Like, he has got it. So absolutely, the Knicks need to explore this, but at the same time, they shouldn't overpay. I could see a trade something like this, but it's also the Cavs might want more. So Bojan Bogdanovic is there for the contract reason. He gives the Cavs cap space. Precious Achiuwa is like the best young player the Knicks could realistically trade, because they can't trade Deuce McBride till September. And also, I don't want them to trade Deuce McBride, guys. And then Jericho Sims, literally just because they needed to add like 1.9 in money. 1.9 million, that is, obviously. And then if you look at the draft picks, I'm not saying these are the exact picks that are going to go on. Clearly the sirens outside are saying that they're not going to be, and I should be arrested for making a horrible trade or something like that you guys are going to say in the comments. I don't know. But essentially, the Knicks would have to give up 4 firsts. One of them would be a swap. 3 would not be. Maybe one of them has some top 3, top 5, top 7 protection on it. But that's realistically the backbone of a trade that the Knicks would make with the Cavs for Donovan Mitchell. The question is, do they do it? We're not going to know till the playoffs. So, guys, comment down below. Do you guys want Donovan Mitchell? We haven't done a video on him in a little bit. So, let me know down below. I'll make sure to interact with you guys in the comments. Have a great day. I need a new microphone. Go Knicks.